I have had this Black & Decker model BNA17 mini refrigerator, 1.7 cubic feet, for 5 to 6 years or so without incident. Today, it has suddenly stopped cooling. I have opened the back panel. I don't know anything about appliances or electrical setups, but I want to know what is the likely culprit on this model and how exactly might I effect repair on my own.
Welcome to JustAnswer. Tell me please if the compressor mounted in the back is real warm or hot to the touch, or if it's room temperature please. Problems with those range from a bad thermostat or start capacitor/relay. Fixable. To a failed compressor or refrigerant leak, cheaper to buy a new one. As we go along, just keep pressing the continue button until we succeed. There are no time limits here.
My wife just called with dinner ready. I'll respond within an hour. I have a photo. What does the compressor look like and where? Tie. Nothing felt hot after removing the thin cover from the back. One of the fans felt warm only. IDK where the compressor is or what it looks like. The fridge has now been unplugged for several hours.
Hello again. The compressor is a bit bigger than a softball and black, welded oval. Weighs 7 to 10 pounds. With 2 small copper tubes attached, and 3 wires going to it. It's only hot if the refrigerator has been plugged in for an hour or 2, and either running and cooling properly. Or attempting to start. Do this test please, while listening intently to the refrigerator, with your hand on the compressor, plug it in. Tell me if the fan starts immediately, and tell me if you can hear the compressor click slightly and hum and keep humming. It only hums for 3 to 5 seconds, then clicks and after a while hums again for 3 to 5 seconds. Then it's trying to start and is not able to start. In that case it's a bad compressor or just a bad start capacitor and relay. If the fan does not run, then the compressor will run hot and go off on its high temperature safety. Then try to start again later. It will be hot in that case as well. Read this over a few times, then see how the refrigerator behaves when you plug it in. We can go from there until we get this resolved. Fill 41303.05035755579.
Okay, but the fridge is in my office, so I'll do this first thing in the morning. Sorry for the delay.
Hello again. There is no rush on this end. Let me know what you find. You may want to repeat the test, then let it run for a while to get a feel for what is going on, or not going on. Post back when you have the results. We can go from there. Phil.
THX. Drive. Phil, my little mini refrigerator is hiding its compressor, because I see it nowhere. I have a photograph of what's behind the metal cover in back. It shows an electrical section, maybe with transistors, etc., and 2 cooling fans only. If you give me an email address to send it to, I'll email it to you immediately.
Hello again, Larry. My mistake. I assumed it was built like most small refrigerators. It is not. This one is a thermoelectric. Then it is indeed not worth repair. It has fans but no compressor, or refrigerant. It operates on the principle that when you run direct current, DC, electricity, though laminated plates of 2 dissimilar metals, they will get cold on one end and hot on the other end. The hot end is seen on the outside of the refrigerator with 2 small fans blowing air over the laminated plates on the outside. Then attach to the refrigerator cabinet with two fans blowing cold air over the cold plates inside. They can have several problems, mainly the fans wear out and spin too slowly, or not at all. Or the power supply or the thermostat fails. Or the outside fins get clogged with dust and dirt from the air. You can clean the fins on the outside, and peel the labels off of the fan motors and find an oiling hole under the label and use 3-in-1 electric motor oil in the hole. 1 drop is more than sufficient. If the fan has begun turning too slow, that will revive it for a time. You can oil the motors inside that same way, peel the brand sticker off and oil through the exposed hole. Other than that, you can replace the more expensive parts. The power supply, or the thermostat, is most likely. Your time and energy may or may not be worth it to you. eBay has them on auction refurbished for $80 to $100, plus shipping. Let me know if the cleaning and oiling fails. So far I have not found parts for those, but many are selling refurbished models. Sears sells them for $149 refurbished. I can look for parts if you are interested in diagnosing the failed components. I can step you through that if you wish. Fill.
I turned the fridge on about 3 hours ago, and the upper fan's mount is now still cool to the touch, but the lower one is warm. Both fans appear to be running at normal speeds. The mounts look like heel sink fans for a desktop computer, only maybe a bit larger. I see no labels for a drop of oil. I was worried that I'd pay $30 just to find out something very expensive makes repair uneconomical. What are your thoughts now, Dr. Phil?
Hello again. So far you have just left a good faith deposit and have not paid anything to me unless and until you accept. Just answer, and I only think you should accept if you feel that payment is worth the information received. We are viable because we help, and we are viable only if the help ends up to be worth the amount on deposit. We do not want you to accept unless you think it is. On this end I will do my best regardless. Even if you tell me that you don't think the advice will be worth any payment. Have you cleaned the heat sink on the outside unit? Let me know, we can go from there. When we are done, and if you do feel it's worth your deposit, just opt out and request a refund of your deposit. Please do not rate my efforts negatively, however. That option is to be used in the event you get a bad answer. Phil 41303.7632395139.
Thank you for your kindness. IDK how to clean those 2 heat sinks. Do I detach them to do so?
Hello again. You do not detach the heat sinks. That would ruin the unit. Use compressed air, that's best. XXXXXXXXXX fans if necessary, and use a brush. Fill.
I will do that. I believe the fridge is actually slightly cooling, but doesn't seem to get where it should. That makes me think thermostat, but I'm not the expert.
Hello again. Thermostats can fail slowly like that, but not often. Mostly they fail by not working at all. The unit cooling, but cooling sufficiently proves the power supply is most likely okay, and that the electronic heatsink unit is going bad. Or the fins on the outside are blocked with dirt. If it's been 6 years since you bought it, it is quite likely the heatsink fins on the outside that the 2 fans blows air through is clogged with dirt. Tell me what you can discover in that regard. We can go from there, Phil.
Fins. Not fans. How do I know them?
Hello again. The fans have motors and rotating blades. The fins I am referring to are typical of the heat sinks you mentioned and seen on some computer and electronic components. The fans draw air across them similar to the diagram at this link. Click here, please fill.
To see if my canned air has fixed my cooling problem, I'm waiting until morning.
Hello again. Your can might help, but a strong vacuum cleaner would be better. If the canned air blew a lot of out, it would have helped. Stay in touch, Phil.
Okay, I haven't been back to check that fridge yet this morning, but if it's still undercooling, I will add vacuuming it, to see any improvement.
Good plan. Stay in touch, Phil.
I think, with some high probability, that somehow the vacuuming had a beneficial effect. I will reserve judgment for the end of the day, to be certain, but my hopes are high.
Good plan. I will put the ratings box up now so you can rate my help positively. That is entirely up to you. In that case, replacement with a refurbished unit would be the way to go. Phil.
Phil, it has become obvious to me at this stage that the upper cooling unit of the two is not cooling, but the lower one is. This may suggest the solution to you. I hope so.
Hello again. If the fans are running on the upper cooling unit, then we know it's getting power and that the thermostat is calling for cooling. The repair would involve replacing the upper cooling and heat sink component. Or possibly just taking it apart and making sure the wire connections to it are putting out 12 volts DC. And that the connections are good. If you are handy working on appliances, taking it apart would be within your skill set. Those are mechanically very simple. You will need a multimeter. Let me know how that goes. We can proceed from there. Phil.
Okay, I'm not that good with voltage/multimeters. But with specific instruction, like which wire, if any, to disconnect for testing it, I can do anything. I reiterate, I can email you a photo of the back of the fridge, showing the wiring and units. If you tell me an email address to which to send it. What exactly does this mean? The repair would involve replacing the upper cooling, then. A heat sink component. Or possibly just taking it apart. What? Where? And making sure the wire connections to it are putting out 12 volts DC. Exactly how? There is a difference between stupid and uninformed. I hope I am the latter, but there are no guarantees.
Hello again. Those are items that maybe one in a few thousand technicians has ever worked on. I never have, but when we do, we fall back on our basic understanding of how to take things apart and look over the wire connections. It is very seldom ever complex. Click here for a video on how to use a multimeter. A $20 or $30 meter will work. It also comes with directions. Have a selection of screwdrivers that match the screw heads on the refrigerator area around the outside near the fan unit. And see what you can do. If you do not find bad wire connections though, fixing this thing is likely going to take a lot more time and money than it's worth. Let me know how it goes. Phil.
My guess is that, since the upper heatsink casing is cool to the touch, unlike the warm lower one, either it or the wiring integrity to it is failing. I'm going to try to borrow a multimeter today, along with its owner's advice. We'll see how that goes.
Good plan. Stay in touch as necessary. Practice with the meter on your car battery. That's 12 volts DC. Be sure you have the meter set to read voltage before using it. If it's set on ohms, checking voltage with it can ruin the meter. Especially the needle and dial types. Fill.
I've been told here locally that this refrigerator has a compressor in the top of the fridge, a sealed compressor, which would cost more to repair than this machine is worth. How about a favorable rating for a $15 fee, not $30? Since I didn't get anywhere with this, except to buy another one, which any dummy like me can do.
Hello again. Most small refrigerators do use a compressor. Your refrigerator, according to the model number you gave, is a pure electronic refrigerator, not nearly as common. The person who told you that it had a compressor was most likely guessing on that basis. According to the model number and your detailed description, yours can be nothing but a thermoelectric refrigerator. But you can check this for yourself. If it has a compressor, there will be a 6-inch diameter, rounded steel unit in the back near the bottom, that weighs about 10 or 15 pounds, it will be impossible to miss. We discussed that on the first or second day of our conversation. Regarding the money, we operate on the honor system here. I do my best and you pay if you feel it's worth the money. There are no provisions in place for reduced payment. We had discussed the non-viability of most repairs on small appliances like that earlier, since it is a thermoelectric type, and if you have not found bad wire connections and there is 12 volts power to the thermoelectric unit, if you had checked that, then it is indeed not worth repair. But not because of a compressor issue. Your options are to rate positively, in which case I am paid for my several hours of coaching and answering your many questions, or you can opt out of the question by closing it. That is entirely up to you. Good luck with whatever you decide. Phil.
Okay, I've gotten conflicting advice from here locally versus you. Regarding compressor versus thermoelectric and reasons for failure, etc. Regardless of the hours you spent on this issue, my result was difficult to swallow. I think I am done with this venue for advice. BC, I can replace my broken things without paying someone to tell me how to pay more for tools needed for diagnostics, then finding out it's still not worth fixing. But a deal is a deal. And I'll just chalk it up to experience, much as my business nature protests. I'm releasing the $30. Good luck to you.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.